الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ثم أما بعد عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أسرعوا بالجنازة فإن تك صالحة فخير تقدمونها إليه وإن تك غير ذلك فشر تضعونه عن أعناقكم. Quick reminder about janaza, and we know janaza is when you have when a person dies. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Asri'u bil janaza." Asri'u means hurry. Doesn't mean run, it means be faster than normal. And faster than normal in two things. In preparing the janazah by washing it and praying on it and burying it, and in carrying it. When you carry it, you don't walk like you normally walk. You walk a little bit faster. And the reason for that, he said it, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, خَيْرٌ تُقَدِّمُونَهَا إِلَيْهِ. It is goodness that you advance it for. And we know in the grave it can be a pit from the hellfire or a garden from the Jannah. So if it's righteous, then who wants to stay here in this life? Just go and advance it. And شَرٌ تَضَعُونَهُ عَنْ أَعْنَاقِكُمْ. When you carry a janazah, you get tired. So it's like you get it off of your shoulder. Don't take it slowly like some people. In some country, they walk slowly and they stop here and there. And someone comes and starts reciting Quran and doing all of that. This is all against the Sunnah. We learn from this hadith that to really honor the dead person is to bury him fast. And the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, like Abdullah ibn Zubayr and others, they used to do it so quick. When the person dies, they don't wait for a religious person or someone to come and pray on them. If there is a relative that they have to delay it because of that, some scholars said this is acceptable. But really, the way the hadith is, you should bury it. You should bury it, and this is the closest to the Sunnah and most dignified to the person who is being buried. I want to pass an advice in the prayer. When you do pray the Sunnah and the Fardh, the teachings that we learn from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is to separate between the Fardh and the Sunnah. Separate between the Fardh and the Sunnah بكلام أو بانتقال من المكان. بتفرق بين الفرض والسنة. Either Fardh and Sunnah, you separate between them either by talking or moving from your spot to another spot. The best is to move from one spot to another spot. Like this brother here prayed Fardh now with me here. He wants to pray Sunnah. It's better for him to move to another spot than praying in the same spot, because the earth testifies and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes to be worshipped in every spot. So you worship here, you worship there, you worship there. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they move it. Now of course, the best prayer for the Sunnah is where? At home. But if you were to pray it in the masjid, it's okay, but it's not better in rewards. But separate. And if you separate your prayers, like pray from one side to another, make sure you don't pray in the middle of the musalla. Come closer where there is a partition or something where people don't pass in front of you or cannot leave because of you. Because the Sunnah also is to have sutra. Sutra is something to let people know that this is your premise, this is your spot. no one can enter it. And if someone enters it, you have to stop him. So if this is my sutra, right here, and someone comes and passes between me and the sutra, I put my hand to stop him. But don't expect me, I'm shaking your hand. Because I did that in Medina and she shook my hand and kept going. I was trying to stop him. So this is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because he said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لأن يقف أو ينتظر أحدكم 40 خير له من أن يمر بين يدي مصلي أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. To wait 40, it's better than passing in front of someone praying. 40 what? Let it be days, let it be hours. We cannot wait 1 minute. The Prophet ﷺ said, wait that long, not to do that. So, the Prophet ﷺ in a hadith, he said, أَيَعْجِزُ أَحَدُكُمْ إِذَا صَلَّى أَنْ يَتَقَدَّمَ أَوْ يَتَأَخَّرَ أَوْ عَنْ يَمِينِهِ أَوْ عَنْ شِمَالِهِ. Is it hard for you when you want to pray the Sunnah to advance a little, or back up a little, or move a little bit to the right, or a little bit to the left? Meaning, it's not hard, so do it. It's rewarding, and it's the Sunnah. So when you do that, make sure the best way is to pray in a place where there is a sutra already, like a wall, or maybe another person praying in front of you. And if there isn't, like you come one time by yourself in the masjid, you see a lot of people in the middle of the masjid and praying, take a chair or something and put it in front of you. If you don't, and you see someone doing it, you take a chair and put it in front of him. Maybe this is an indirect reminder for the brother to follow the Sunnah, and at the same time, you save the passing and the crossing in front of him. What does that mean, the hadith, wait 40? It means it's so evil to pass in front of that. Because when you stand before whom? In the prayer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So imagine yourself, I'm having an interview, you're interviewing someone important, something, you're standing talking, and someone just comes and passes in front of you. How disrespectful that is to just basic human being. Imagine when the person is praying. So wait that long. And that's why the person is commanded to stop him. In fact, the shaitan said, فَإِنَّهُ شَيْطَانٌ. If he insists on going, he is shaitan. Yani you do this. If the person did not want to move your hand, fight him. Literally, the Prophet ﷺ said, meaning do your best to not let him.
Is it required for the kids as well? When they go in front of you while you pray? For kids, like teenagers, toddlers?
No, Now you got to understand, when the Imam is praying, he is a sutra for everyone. So people can move between lines when the Imam is praying. And if you say Assalamu alaikum, you have to get up, and there is no other way, there's no other path, there is no room in the place, then that has darurat rules. This is okay. Yani don't expect yourself if like some people, as soon as you say Assalamu alaikum, in his spot he says Allahu Akbar. Now how am I going to do it? There is a darura that you have to pass. And remember, if you don't have a sutra, it's not as far as you can go, I cannot pass. The place of your sujood and plus this much, beyond that, you go. The person is missing out on the Sunnah. In fact, some scholars said if you don't put the sutra, you don't have a premise. You do not even care for a premise for that. So the advice is, some brothers want to leave and they cannot leave. They pray in the same spot. Even in ibadat, we are recommended to separate between the ada and the ibadah. Something that is customary and something that is ibadah. Like in the morning of Eid al-Fitr, what do? You eat a date on purpose to break your fast. So you separate it from regular from fasting and the Eid. You break your fast as soon as the adhan calls when you're fasting. Why? Because this is ibadah. You're breaking your fast for ibadah. If you delay it, it becomes like ada, or you just want to eat. You're not really that hungry and stuff like that. Why you delay the suhoor until Fajr? It's also ibadah. Yeah, I can eat at midnight and everything, but if I want to separate with this ada and make it ibadah, I'll do it the time that the Prophet ﷺ recommended it. And the same thing in Jum'ah. There's a hadith about Salat al-Jum'ah. When you pray in the spot, move from that spot and not pray in the same spot. Or talk. So it differs between, so you don't get the same thing. You did the Fardh and you did the Sunnah. It's all in one. It looks the same. There is no difference in between them. Make some difference. And the best is to move because the earth testifies for you. In Surah Al-Zalzala, يومئذ تحدث أخبارها. That day, earth will relate its stories. And what stories? What people did on it. Those who prayed and those who did not, and all. It will relate the stories, so it will be rewarding for you. What do we learn today? The deceased person has to be buried as soon as possible, and at the same time, when you carry the janazah, you don't walk too fast and you don't walk normal. You go a little bit faster. When you pray, separate between your Fardh and Sunnah by talking or moving. And moving is better than talking. And when you pray, make sure you have a sutra in front of you that tells other people, I'm praying, I'm in a meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do not interrupt us. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم. Did I answer your question, brother? No. No? طب تعال.